Hey, Coach. Good to see you again. Been pretty quiet since the Ohio State game in Ann Arbor. No drama, no chaos, no headlines, no scandals,
It's
nothing
been
like
calm
that.
there.
I
No
know we,
chaos.
I know we said we were gonna call this no comment. We're not gonna comment on the past, but talk more about the future. Obviously, we hired Coach Kyle Whittingham, Coach Witt. Super excited about that. A Hall of Fame coach. I mean his record kind of speaks for himself. He's got 11 bowl game wins and 32 seasons as assistant and a head coach. 177 and 88. Did a great job with Utah. Beat us a couple times with Utah in the opener. Beat my buddy Nick Sheridan one time, and then beat Jimmy too. So he's a heck of a player. He was a stud when he played. He played in the NFL for a long time. Tough guy.
Well, he played 1 year in the NFL, played a lot, played in Canada,
Played in
and
Canada.
but his father coached a long time in the NFL, and is
Yeah.
highly regarded. Um, and I think that this, and the more I evaluate it, was a wonderful hire. And the more I know about Coach Witt, I'm going to call him, is the more I like the hire. Um, Urban Meyer called him the best coach in the country. For a long time, I identified him as a great coach because he was doing a great job at Utah. And then, uh, subsequent to his uh, hiring, I spoke at length with my good friend and former teammate Chuck Heater. Chuck had coached at Utah with Coach Whittingham and just spoke in multiple superlatives about the kind of person he is. Um, um, Great coach, he said, defensive genius, but a remarkable person in every way. And they didn't start off on the right foot because Urban Meyer actually hired Chuck to coach the defensive backs without consulting with Coach Whittingham when he was a defensive coordinator. And apparently he took some umbrage to that. But it didn't take him long. And if you know Chuck Heater, it wouldn't take you long to love him anyway because he's a wonderful guy. And he coached for Lou Holtz played with me at Michigan, was a great player. Coached for Lou Holtz when they won the national championship at Notre Dame, and then with Coach Urban Meyer when they won 2 national championships down at Florida. Chuck's coached for New Heisel, Bill McCartney. He's been all over the place, and he's a great coach. And I respect his opinion. And he's just a wonderful guy. My concern with him was at 66, how many more mountains does he want to climb? Does the vitality, vigor, focus that it takes to take a program like Michigan and do all the things that are required to be successful? And I know this about him after he answered that question for himself. I think that he left BYU on his own accord, but I think from what I read, it was the people are not happy that he left there. And Chuck told me a great story about him, and this is a wonderful endorsement of Coach Whittingham, along with the fact that the first thing he told the Michigan players is you need the team more than the team needs you. And that's Schembechler-esque. So he's a disciplined guy. He respects the game. He's a great coach. He's been around. Andy Reid, I understand, is one of his best friends, so he's current. He knows the best coaches. And but what happened when he was the defensive coordinator in, I think, 2005, when Urban had the great team out there at Utah? They went undefeated. They were playing in the Rose Bowl when they had the great Alex Smith, great quarterback. The Urban left had accepted the job to go to Florida. But simultaneously, the BYU job came open. And Coach Whittingham was actually offered both. Now, he loves BYU and loved BYU. That's his alma mater. He played there. He was Mountain West Player of the Year when he was there as a linebacker, fullback. And as Chuck tells me the story, all the Utah players got together. 105 kids they all got in their car and they drove to his house, to Coach Whittingham's house, where his family, wife, and everybody was. And they went to him and they implored him to stay as their coach. They talked about how they felt about him, and he chose, and he could have gone to either place, to stay at Utah because of the relationship he had with those players. And I think that's the greatest the greatest endorsement you can get. And then he started off, he had a real good year, 8-5. Then he had a couple mediocre years. But then since then, he's just had great years every year.
Coach, I forgot this. In 2014, he beat us twice. He beat us in the bowl game too, Coach. He beat
Yeah.
Harbaugh twice. I mean, there's not many teams out there in the
This guy, I'm telling you, and so he answered the question for Ward. The only reservation I had is 66 years old.
was
But, he's in tremendous shape. He's got enthusiasm, and he's got all the figure. He's answered that question. He answered it. I'm sure he answered it for Ward and the other people at the University of Michigan he had to talk to. He talked to during the interview process. But I'm sure he answered them to himself, because there's nobody knows better than a man who's been head coach for over 20 years at a major program about what it entails. So he's ready to go. He's excited, I know. He's saying all the right things too. I mean, he's
Coach,
saying all the right things.
He's only 18 months older than the best coach in college football right now, so he has more wisdom and more experience than
He's got more experience than Signetti.
Yes. So that's what I've been telling people, that he's more tenured.
Guy was a better player too. Who knows? Mount West Player of the Year. But so 66 is the new 56. So what I hope he can do is, and I know he will, because you're expected to win right away, is do well right away. He's got a 5-year contract. I'm hoping he's going to populate his staff with 3 or 4 people that if he dropped in tomorrow could succeed him and do a great job at Michigan. And so there's a seamless sort of line of succession. There'll be people at Michigan that are prepared and would be great candidates to become the head coach after this period of time. Lee Iacocca, who ran, Chrysler, the guy who invented the Mustang and did all the great things at Ford, he said in my senior staff meeting, if there's not 5 guys, if I drop dead tomorrow, can't come in and do my job better than I can, then I have not done my job. And so he's going to keep Tony Elford, I know, which is a wonderful move. And I know we had a frank conversation with members of this current staff. And it's a tough thing, there's families involved and everything else that goes, it's just tough. They'll have homes and everything, but I'm sure they'll be treated fairly. But you should not be expected to keep everyone, but I know he's going to try to keep a couple guys. And that's part of the transition. So the first thing he has to do is put together a great staff. And I know he's in the process of doing that. The great thing is he knows great coaches because he's had people coach for him. He's coached against guys. So he's in it. And he's got to put together a cohesive staff. I know he's talking to the defensive coordinator at BYU, who's a very close friend of his, to come and be the defensive coordinator. So he's going to put together a great staff. I'm confident of that because he's been around and he knows what he's doing and he knows great coaches. And he's proven that he could direct them and bring the team together. And then, you got to put, you got player retention is critical. He's got to keep the players we have at Michigan. And so they're allowed to go to the portal pretty soon. And we want to keep our best players. So player retention. He's also got to retain the recruits that have already signed with Michigan. We had one defection early, but everyone else is held pat, and we've had a pretty good recruiting year.
The 5-star edge rusher is committed, and so did the running back. Both came out. Both our 2 5-stars have come out and said they're coming. So.
And this is an interesting thing I just read that happened. The best player at Utah is an edge rusher. He's about 6'5", 245, and a dominant player. He just announced to the portal. So so that's the other thing he has to do right away. He's got to attend to the portal, which begins January 2nd. So he's got to quickly evaluate where we have needs at Michigan and plug in great players out of the portal, from the portal. And so there's a lot on his plate. The other thing he has to do, in my estimation, is the University of Michigan's made up a lot of different sort of factions, constituencies. Let's not say factions, but let's say constituencies. And among those that he needs to reach out to and develop a relationship with, number one is the faculty, students, alumni, ex-players, which are a constituency unto themselves, and it's important that, and they're all supportive right now. I've read all the comments. I mean, everybody's delighted that he's coming. And then, donors. The faculty should not be, he's been at a university setting, he understands it. Should not minimize the relationship between the head coach at Michigan and the faculty. You need the support of all those constituencies. Coach Schematic, when I was there, was able to bring all those people together and support the program because they all believed in him and he communicated well with all of them. And he'll do that. He'll do that. He has the experience and he's articulate and he's bright. And so he needs to pull everybody together. So we're all pulling together. And I haven't talked to anybody that's not excited about Coach Whittingham. And I'm telling you, every day when I read his comments and what he says about discipline, respect, excellence, playing together, teamwork, he's echoing all those values that historically made Michigan a place that was admired and respected. And we've gotten away from that in some ways, in my estimation. So he's going to help restore that. And I think he's going to do it right away. He's a Hall of Fame coach. We have a Hall of Fame coach. The one thing I always think, if I'm going to hire somebody, I'm going to hire somebody who has won before, who's been a successful salesman, been successful at what he does, has integrity, has enthusiasm, passion, wants to do well, highly motivated. But what I like to do as it relates to sports is I want to hire a guy who's won championships. He has won championships in a place where historically it was not easy to win. He's done a wonderful job there, and he's made them a power out there and done a great job. And when you win championships, that demonstrates that you're able to bring the team and the kids and a staff together for a single purpose and elevate them to excellence. And that is measured by championships. And that's what we're going to try to do at Michigan. And we're going to do everything we can to support him and help him in any way, everything he needs. And he has all the resources that are required to win. I think he'll be surprised. Certainly, there's more resources at Michigan than he had at Utah. And I think he'll be surprised at the dedication and how much the people care about the program, and at their willingness to support him in all the ways he needs and help him be successful and get us back to where we'd like to be. And that's a championship team, but also doing all the right things so we can be admired and respected for who we are and what we stand for.
Yeah, he fits not only identity, culture, all that good stuff you're talking about, but schematically he also fits. They always ran the ball very well at Utah, and he can coach the forward pass, which I think is something huge for us. I think
we have this wonderful, talented quarterback.
This is the best thing that could have happened to Bryce Underwood. There was
no question. All of them. Every single. That's the best thing that can happen to all those kids.
Yes.
They have a guy coming in here, and all the things he said, and I'm telling you, Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer has the highest winning percentage, I think, in the history of collegiate football. No one has won at a higher percentage. Guys have won more games, more national championships, and he's won up, but he has the highest winning percentage. It's remarkable. It's up in the 80s, higher than Bo, Woody, any of the Barsigian, any of the great Bear Bryant. I mean, he's way up there. And so, although he's an Ohio State guy, I have respect for him as a coach and as an analyst. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, we're going to finally have somebody
who referred to him as the best coach in the country.
Yeah, I agree. And he said it multiple times. He said it before they hired him at Michigan, and he's still echoing it. He's going to finally be able to marry our pass game with our run game. We didn't have that in the transition. Jimmy would pass 20 times a game and, want to complete 16, and he put his quarterback in situations he knew what throws that his quarterback, from Jake Rudock to JJ, he knew what throws they could make, and he got him in position to make those plays, which is down, distance, and hash. And now we're going to have somebody that can marry the pass game with the run game. If it's two different offenses, if you have to switch personnel groups, if you have to do all these things, be at the beginning of the season, it doesn't matter. But throughout, you get figured out by defensive
Well, we
coordinator.
have not been balanced. And
No,
I've said it all along, you really got to be balanced. And you have to take what the opponent gives you. And you cannot be one-dimensional. And you can't be all pass, and you can't be all run, or at least it can't be 70-30. Now it hasn't been that bad, but we've been, I think, I got it right here, what we did last year.
well, we
And
talked about it.
we
Every
were
every
39, we passed 39.5% of the time. We ran about 60.5% of the time. Now, where the kid is talented is now Bryce has got to become a passer. He's got to become a quarterback. But he's got all the ability in the world. He's willing. He's tough. He's a good runner. He ran for 323 yards this year and made some big runs for us. And is not afraid to go get the first down. And so, I just feel like he was let down a little bit. And I'm not there. So it's hard. This is all speculation on my part because we didn't, develop him and coach him. And so this kid we're going to play on Saturday, Manning, he started off badly. They really should have beaten Ohio State because they had wide open receivers. They can say the defense coordinator fooled them and all that stuff. He just missed guys. He just missed wide open receivers. But he has evolved and he's much better. But he had spent a year behind Ewers as his understudy. Bryce Underwood did not have that luxury. We threw him right into the fire, and he's just going to get better because of the experience. And so Manning, who had a real slow start his first game, and everybody expected he was going to be the Heisman Trophy winner because his name was Manning, really has come on throughout the year, and it culminated in the victory against Texas A&M, at the end of the year. So Bryce now has experience. It's going to be interesting to see who he hires as a coordinator. Just to decide, did you see where Northwestern just hired Chip Kelly to be their offensive coordinator?
Yep.
That's something. Who got fired? I didn't realize he got fired. The Raiders fired him in November.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it'd be interesting to see who's going to bring in and who will be his quarterback coach. I believe look at the quarterback, all things equal, and every position is integral to the success of a team. But that quarterback, you got to have a great quarterback performances, and a great quarterback what leads you to championships. It's essential. 50% of what they do at a play happens before the play as they communicate to the rest of the team to make decisions. And we have numerical superiority. When you run the ball, they have to make decisions on the run-pass option, all those things. So I hope we're going to get, and I'm sure that it is his intention to get a great guy to tutor our quarterbacks. And I say quarterbacks because, I think we're going to lose two quarterbacks to the portal. But we got young Tommy Carr coming in, who I've known his whole life, and I love him before he even starts. And that's CJ's brother. And I would anticipate he's going to be a great player for Michigan too. And then I think we might have another kid, a young good quarterback coming in. So we all got to develop them, and we know you got to have depth in positions. I think we're going to see with Coach Whittingham, I think we're going to see competition within the position. And so anyway, I'm excited. I think it's a wonderful hire. I think it's a great thing for Michigan. I think he's what we need. It's amazing. It's sort of the appropriate fit. Now he's got to do it. We got to win. We got to do well. We've given him everything he needs, and we want to see him succeed. And now it has to happen. But he's done it before, and that means he knows how to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. We came out of this thing with such a great hire with the timing and everything. The stars aligned.
All the other guys, all the other hot guys were gone.
Yeah.
Because people hired him. Matt Campbell went to Penn State. That great that great young coach at James Madison went over to UCLA. Um, uh, they just they were all pretty much gone, and then they talked about Coach DeBoer at Alabama. He was in the CFP, and then they talked about the young, talented, but very young, really talented Arizona State coach. And he decided, and I'm not sure they ever talked to him. Who knows? I don't know who they talked to, who they didn't. But that didn't work out. And then all of a sudden, Kyle Whittingham is there, a man with experience, talent, ability, value,
Character, character.
everything. I mean, he checks. The only question I had was at 66, is he ready to go? And he is. And he is. He answered. I'm certain he answered that question himself. He's not going to undertake something. He doesn't have to. He didn't have to take this job. But he said, I've been at a place where, we've done well. But at Michigan, you can win the national championship. You can be consistently excellent. He understands what it is.
Well, he knows he's
And
going to have the
I'm sure he
support.
talked to Urban about it.
I think Coach. I think he's going to be an unbelievable recruiter. I think he was. I think he was doing more with less. I think now once he has the facilities, the support, the NIL, all these things, he's gonna. We had a top 12 class. I guarantee you next year he'll be top 8,
Well, he's
top 5.
recruited me. He's won me over. And
Yeah.
a big part of it is what his former colleague and a man who had been in college football for over 40 years and excelled, and my great friend Chuck Heater told me, who had firsthand experience with him, and said, this guy, you love him. He's he's one of our guys. He's like us. He's got the values. He's a great guy, tough guy, disciplined guy, respectful, integrity, has great defensive ability. Chuck said, out of all the guys I've ever been around, he's been around some great coaches now. He said, this guy is the greatest defensive mind that I've been around. And, like Belichick, when you know defenses, then you know offenses and you know how to stop them, but you know what works well. So, I'm excited. I know he's going to keep Tony Elford. I was worried about that. And
I, I hope he keeps Kerry Combs. The 2 Ohio State guys are the guys I want.
and he could plug Kerry in where he wants. He wants special teams. He's going to talk to everybody and be fair. Typically, they'll keep 1 or 2 guys, maybe 3, as many as 3 for transition, and also to be important members of the staff. But he has to bring in people that he knows that he can work with, that are going to be loyal to him. And he has that right and privilege, and it's a necessity, actually.
Well, in
And so he's
football,
got to have a cohesive staff where
yeah.
everybody's moving in the same direction, has the same values, the same priorities, understands the mission, and understands the head coach and what he wants and how he wants them to act. And we all understood how Bo wanted us to act. We understood how he wanted us to act with the players. We understood what he needed, what he expected. All that it was very clear. But we had been around him. All of us had been around. I had played for him, and all the other guys had been around him for years. So they were together. They were a family. And he talks about family. It was interesting what Jordan Marshall said about him. And I don't want to talk too long because we want to talk a little bit about Texas. But Jordan Marshall said, I went there for 10 hours. I almost went there. His brother, Freddie, apparently, Williams, a coach, he was recruiting him. He said, but the family atmosphere. And they emphasized that. And he said, I was overwhelmed by it, and I finally chose Michigan because I thought it was a better fit for me. But I came really close because it was pretty compelling. And that's what Jordan Marshall just said not too long ago in the paper. So, he's gonna preach that. He's gonna understand that all of us are behind him, and we're all excited that he's here. The past is the past. That was a very difficult period for us, but it's over, behind us. We hope everybody heals that's involved, gets better. We don't wish bad things for anybody, but now it's time for Michigan to put their program back together and start to move forward and win championships. And that's what it's built for. That's what's available to you. That's what can be done. It's been done in the past. And I believe this man brings the credentials, the attitude, the talent, the skill set that's required to win big at Michigan. And I think I'm confident he's going to do it for us. And I'm excited. And every day I read what he says, I like him more and more. He's got
Yeah.
scruff. I like that scruff he has. I'm thinking about doing. You got that. I'm thinking about doing some of that stuff. My wife says I look like a homeless guy when I do that. But I know he can relate to young people too, and he's a player's guy. He's a player's coach, and that's comes through. That's all those kids going to him. He was going to go to BYU. That was his goal. That was his ambition. That was where he went to school. And his players at Utah begged him, and they convinced him to stay. And he stayed there with them, and he had great success with them because of his loyalty to them.
Well, I
It
truly,
wasn't his ambition
I
to stay at Utah,
yeah,
and
no,
he changed his mind because of what the players said to him. Not because what was in his best interest necessarily, and then he built a great program there, and so God bless him,
well,
and that's remarkable. That's a remarkable story.
I
As a
agree.
player,
Well, I agree. I think kids are. I think yeah, there's a lot of stuff, NIL, money, transfer portal. There's so many new things in college football, but kids, 18-year-old kids are still 18-year-old kids. They want to be coached hard. They want to be developed. They want to be disciplined, and they want to come out the other side a man. They want. This is when you go into college football. These are things you look for in a head coach. You don't go in there and look for a buddy. Not the good players, not the guys that want to be great. They don't
you
go
don't
in
want
there.
a friend. You don't want a
No.
friend. You want a guy that's going to make you a great player.
Yes.
Who's going to teach you how to be great,
Yep.
and all the things that the great coaches Schematic, Saban, Meyer, Whittingham that have done are guys that can communicate that to kids. They're lead. So a great leader has to have goodness and be authentic because people can see that. If they don't think you're a good person, they can lead, but you're not a successful leader. That's the number one quality. I read a book by Secretary Gates who said this, and out of all the things, you got to be authentically good because people see that. But each player has to believe that the coach has his best interest at heart and cares about how he does and him progressing and doing well. But at the same time, he marries that with his vision for team success.
Well,
And so that's not easy to do, but the great ones do that. That's what they do. The great leaders in business, in politics, they marry your personal ambition and to a bigger goal
cause, yeah.
where and get you to subordinate yourself to the bigger goal, to the bigger thing. And so you get there together. And like you told the kids, you need the team more than the team needs you. The team, the team, the team. I think we've heard that before and hear a lot. And I heard it a lot. And that's how you do it.
Well,
We don't do this individually. We don't succeed individually. We succeed together.
yep, absolutely. Well, I hope he gets I know Eric Weddle, his old player at Utah, the great defensive back that came back for the Rams and won a Super Bowl. He's played all over. His son's a 5-star. I hope that's his first. He called Coach Whittingham and said, "Anything you need, Coach." I hope he said, "Well, we'll take your son." But
It's gonna. I'm excited. Now I'm excited about this game tomorrow.
well, let's
And
close
I'm
this
excited
off.
about our basketball team. I shouldn't. When you mentioned that, what a team!
What a
And we
team.
want to play at that level in every single sport. Hockey's doing great. Women's basketball is doing great. Wrestling's doing great. So a lot of good things are happening at Michigan. So the tradition, and he talked about that, is excellence. That is a tradition at Michigan.
Well, people will come and go. Michigan will stay the same. Hopefully, you leave it better than you found it, and I think he will. Um, Truly excited for Coach Whittingham. I mean, every day has got better and better in my estimation. Like you said, I thought it was a home run hire, and now I'm thinking, hey, man, maybe there's a couple guys on base. Maybe this is a grand
I'll
slam.
tell you, and Ward Manuel has taken a lot of criticism, and whatever, I don't need to go into that, but I credit him with this choice. This was a wise choice, and it's going to be, he's got a known Hall of Fame coach. He's not rolling the dice. This is a known quantity, who's done it before, knows how to do it, and is going to do it again. I mean, I will bet everything I have on that. And it worked out well, and I'm very happy with the way it worked out. And we're all troubled by the events of the past. We don't have to. I said we're not going to go into 'em, but we'll get that
No
past us,
comment.
and we wish everybody well
No
and
comment.
get better and good things to happen in their life. I don't want to see anybody go down the drain or get, but
Well, let's
we have something bigger. The organization and the university will continue to go on, and what has made it great across across the board, is that we try to have the best English department, the best medical school, the best hospital, the best anthropology, the best engineering. And we strive to be the best at everything we undertake. And football is important, but it is not as important as the wisdom and all the lives that are being saved every day at that wonderful hospital at the university. So there's a lot of things going on that are good. Uh, Sometimes things happen, and they're not pleasant. But we got to fix it, and we get
persevere.
better. We get
Persevere.
better.
I hope.
Like Coach Schematic said, you never stay the same. You either get better or you get worse. We'll get better, get better, get better, get better as a university, get better as a team, get better as individuals. I like to broaden it by saying get better as a community, get better as a state, get better as a country, get better as a world. Let's get better. Do better.
Well, I agree, Coach. I appreciate your comments on that. I'm super excited for Coach Whittingham. Hopefully, we can put that exclamation point on his career, this 5-year contract to 2030. Pretty excited for it. 30, also your number. So hopefully that's a good omen for another national championship. But we'll close it out here, Coach, and then
That was my number.
yeah,
Number
exactly. That's
30.
what. Yeah, exactly. So we'll close it out here. Go blue, and I'll talk to you in a little bit about Texas.
Go Blue.